Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News Sunday morning.
Breaking right now, an active scene along Pineville Matthews Road. This is a live look at the busy roadway where police have been for over an hour. The questions we're asking police this morning. And breaking in West Charlotte, one man is dead and a teen seriously hurt after an overnight crash. The mistake police say the driver made seconds before the crash. And it may be dry now, but rain is headed our way. This is a nice look at uptown Charlotte this Sunday morning. That could change, though. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elsie Gillis.
And I'm meteorologist Vicki Graff.
And Vicki, it looks nice right now, but won't stay that way.
That's going to change. And within the next couple of hours, we will see that rain moving through Charlotte. For now, that rain moving into western North Carolina. Ashe, Avery, and Watauga counties have been seeing some very heavy rain. As this continues to move east, though, I've noticed it is starting to weaken slightly. It's producing rainfall rates at about an inch per hour in some spots closer to Newland, Banner Elk, on through Todd and Jefferson. And it's rapidly moving east. This is going to be pushing into Blowing Rock, I'd say within the next 5 minutes, and then Sparta by around 7:40. This rain eventually heading towards Charlotte. It's sunny now. The clouds will thicken up. And as we head towards around 11, 12 o'clock, that's when that rain will be right on top of Charlotte. The storm threat will stay low. Can't rule out a clap of thunder, and it will move out quickly, so it's not going to be a washout today. There's more rain heading this way. I'll show you when that arrives coming up.
We're following 3 breaking news stories. First, in Pineville, medics says they responded to a shots fired call along Pineville Matthews Road. Medic told Channel 9 they responded to Centrum Parkway and Pineville Matthews Road around 6 a.m. We're asking Pineville police for more information about that call, but we want to show you what we see on scene right now. This is a live look. You can see police on scene, that tape up, and a car that appears to be flipped over. Firefighters told us a crash sent one person to the hospital. Now, we're asking police exactly what happened, if these incidents are connected, and if anyone else was hurt. We'll bring you any updates as soon as we get them. And breaking in West Charlotte, police say a man has died and a 14-year-old is seriously hurt after an overnight crash. CMPD says around 12:45, Antonio Knox ran the stop sign on Westport Road and drove onto Scott Futrell Drive and hit a concrete wall. Police say alcohol and speed played a role in the crash. The young passenger is being treated at CMC right now for life-threatening injuries. Breaking overnight in North Charlotte, police have arrested a 17-year-old who they say fired shots outside the North Lake Mall last night. Julson Clyburn faces 5 charges, including possession of a firearm by a minor. CMPD says no one was hurt and the mall was closed when this happened. Clyburn is set to appear in court on Tuesday. 15 minutes away in Concord, police locked down the Concord Mills Mall after reports of shots fired. Around 7:30 last night, call after call came into our newsroom asking what was happening inside the mall. Police say a fight in a food court led to the chaos, but there were never any shots fired. But the chaos inside the mall was real. Dozens of officers rushed to the mall, surrounded it, even blocked off entrances. Shoppers told Eyewitness News reporter Stephanie Tinoco they thought their lives were in danger.
Everybody was running and crying. There was people dragging their children. People were tripping and falling. A couple kids got trampled.
Pure panic and chaos erupted inside Concord Mills Mall Saturday night. A terrifying scene for shoppers and employees.
I work at the kiosk closest to the food court, and I saw 300, 400 people running towards me. So at that point, I just knew everybody needed to run.
The mall was completely locked down as Concord police responded to what was originally thought to be a shooting inside the mall. But police say there were no shots, no guns, and no injuries.
It was really scary. I never seen nothing like it. Everybody was terrified.
This woman had her 2 small children with her. She frantically told me she was willing to be a human shield in case bullets blasted towards her children.
I was trying to keep my kids on the opposite side of me where if there was any bullets coming, I was going to make sure it was going to hit me, not them.
Stephanie Tinoco, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Developing overnight, the president of Mexico called off an official trip to the White House after a tense phone call with President Donald Trump over building a border wall. He was supposed to visit in March, but the trip was put on hold following that call this week. At least one Mexican official says Trump lost his temper, but U.S. officials say the president was frustrated. In North Carolina, Republicans are asking Democrats to stop complaining about a robocall that Democrats claim broke the law. In a complaint filed with the Justice Department, Democratic leaders saying an unknown caller received a recorded robocall from Republicans who solicited candidates to run for office. Yesterday, Republicans fought against the claim and say they will investigate. State Attorney General Josh Stein is also investigating. Tomorrow, you can pay your respects to the late Reverend Billy Graham at his library in West Charlotte. Channel 9 captured the 130-mile procession that brought his body from Asheville home to Charlotte yesterday. Thousands lined the streets to honor the man they say impacted their lives and is truly America's pastor. Anchor Liz Foster walks us through the emotional day.
Soft cries could be heard as Reverend Billy Graham's earthly body was carried out of this Asheville funeral home. It was just the beginning of an emotional and inspirational 130-mile procession to Graham's hometown of Charlotte. The route was lined with thousands of faithful followers and some simply paying respects. For many, it was overwhelming to honor the evangelist who changed their life.
When I was 12, I saw my first Billy Graham crusade. And it's probably the first time that I felt the presence of God in my life.
Along the route, some stood solemnly in silence, some prayed, some held American flags for the man known as America's preacher. From Chopper 9, we could see several fire departments hoisting American flags on overpasses. In uptown Charlotte, hundreds lined the street. Many captured the moment of history on their cell phone.
Just see the people out here and just honoring a man who made such an impact on the world. It's an honor to be here.
At one point, when the motorcade turned, we could see Bank of America Stadium in the background, where Graham's last crusade in Charlotte was held in 1996 and drew 260,000 people over 4 nights, including Mac Hicklin, who wanted to see the Reverend for the last time.
I wouldn't have missed it for him at all.
Many who stood along the route told us they felt honored to share these moments with Graham's family. This woman held a sign bearing the words Graham had said he hoped to hear when he met the Lord face to face. Well done, good and faithful servant.
It's just signs to let the Billy Graham family know how much he was loved and appreciated.
The procession ended at the Billy Graham Library, where the Reverend's final resting place on earth will be, next to his wife's grave. His family gathered and hugged before slowly following Graham's handmade casket, carried by his grandsons, inside for a private prayer service. Graham's brother-in-law, Leighton Ford, told us the Reverend never would have wanted all this attention.
He would say that's too much about me. He would always say that. He didn't want it to be about him, wanted him to be about the Lord.
Liz Foster, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Tomorrow, former President George W. Bush and his wife will visit Charlotte to pay their respects to Reverend Graham. Bush once credited Graham with helping him quit drinking. All living presidents were invited to the funeral because Graham prayed for and with each president through President Barack Obama. While President George H.W. Bush cannot travel to the funeral Friday, President Donald Trump will be there. Tomorrow and Tuesday, Reverend Graham's body will lie in repose at the Graham family home site at the Billy Graham Library. Wednesday, his body will be brought to the U.S. Capitol, where it will lie in honor. There have only been 3 other people to receive that prestigious honor. The Reverend's body will then come back to Charlotte Friday for a private funeral service that begins at noon. Tonight, the Million Youth March of Charlotte and Salisbury will hold a candlelight service in honor of Reverend Graham. It begins at 7 tonight at Marshall Park in Uptown. The group is encouraging everyone to attend. Channel 9 will continue honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Billy Graham throughout the week. You can find our coverage so far, including raw video of yesterday's procession, on WSOCTV.com. In addition to handling an influx of people for Reverend Billy Graham's funeral Friday, police will also deal with thousands in the city for the CIAA tournament. CMPD says it's prepared to handle both events and will have extra security on hand. Last week, police told us the events are in separate parts of the city, which helps spread out the congestion.
It's not as complicated because of the site. It's off on Billy Graham Parkway, which helps us. So you have 2 different areas. It's not really going to impact everything that's going on for the CIAA.
The commissioner of the CIAA says most hotel rooms are booked in Charlotte. CMPD says its alcohol beverage control unit is making sure there are no issues at clubs, bars, and convenience stores during the tournament, which kicks off Tuesday in Uptown. We rode along with Detective Matt Lewis Friday night as he checked for any issues ahead of the tournament. He told us one of the biggest problems is illegal parties, which attract crime and violence. Happening today, students who survived the deadly shooting in Parkland, Florida can return to Stoneman Douglas High School for an open house. Now this week, students will return for classes. On February 14th, police say Nicholas Cruz opened fire inside the high school, killing 17 students and staff and hurting 14 others. Yesterday, the final victim in the shooting was laid to rest. After criticism on how a school resource officer responded to the deadly shooting in Florida, the Iredell County Sheriff says his deputies wouldn't hesitate to run into harm's way. In a Facebook post, Sheriff Darren Campbell says he has confidence in the training and dedication his deputies have. He says any of his deputies faced with a similar situation would be the first to go inside a school and eliminate a threat. The post comes after 4 deputies at Stoneman Douglas High School did not go inside during the mass shooting. Authorities say one deputy was not only armed but in uniform, but also knew there was an active shooter on school grounds. The sheriff there had strong words on what the officer should have done.
Went in, addressed the killer, killed the killer.
You froze, you got scared, you did nothing at all. And you could have saved a lot of lives.
Happening tomorrow, Charlotte's police chief and the CMS superintendent will talk about school safety after the deadly Florida school shooting. The two will discuss issues they're hearing from both parents and students. CMPD is asking parents to post any questions and concerns on its Facebook page ahead of time. The meeting is at the Government Center and will air later that evening on Facebook. The time is 7:11. This is a live look outside right now of the sun, the beautiful sun this Sunday morning through our Lake Norman cam. Though that sun will not last all day. Meteorologist Vicki Graff has an update on your forecast from Severe Weather Center 9.
And the clouds are slowly starting to increase, and that's ahead of this rain that's already moving through the mountains, producing some very heavy rain that's going to make it tough to see on some roads. For heading out early in the high country, take it slow. It's a warm start. You don't need to worry about that jacket. Grab the umbrella instead. We're in the 60s right now in Charlotte, upper 50s in the mountains. Going through the day, it's not going to be as warm as it was yesterday thanks to the clouds and the rain. We'll still make it into the 70s though. I'll show you when cooler air returns coming up.
No backpacks allowed after the deadly Florida school shooting. Ahead at 7:45, the reason students say they understand the drastic move. And back online, new at 7:30, the steps BB&T Bank is now taking to make sure last week's outage doesn't happen again. A scary, violent robbery caught on camera. New and next, the struggle between the robber and a store clerk and the quick move she made to scare him off.